Hi guys, welcome to another movie crew review. Today we'll be reviewing Transformers 1.
The movie stars Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, and Scarlett Johansson.
So we find ourselves on the planet Cybertron as we follow the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron. As they were once friends, they then become enemies. We'll get into the review, and I'll be starting us off today. So, I enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed the animation style. Having Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay a part of the project really makes it just like one of the live action Transformer films. So I think the voice casting was done really well. Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime was a really good choice. And he doesn't sound like Chris Hemsworth. He's actually using a voice, which is really nice to see. And it's something that adds to the film because as they go from D16 and Orion Pax to Optimus Prime and Megatron, their voices evolve and start to get deeper from what we would say as just like normal voices to that more iconic, deeper boom voice. So I really enjoyed that development. I think that Keegan-Michael and Scarlett Johansson, great roles, and playing Elita 1 and B, the Bumblebee character of the film. Nice comic relief and duopoly between the two, so I enjoyed that. The setting being on Cybertron, really refreshing. Most of the Transformers films that I've seen are mainly set in Earth, in the presence or at space, so you don't really get to see a full film on Cybertron, so that was a nice aspect. And I really enjoyed the animation style. I think it really fit the Transformers scheme and the way that it lays out really nicely. It's a lot of vibrant colors and you get to see a different side of the world. The origin story is nice to relate to and to see how these two enemies were once friends that worked together and how it evolved. And you can see the side of Megatron, how he becomes Megatron, but also the reasons why he is the way he is. So it's nice to get some depth from a character perspective. It's not so much just the usual good versus evil. You're getting the sides and understanding why they came. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And just, yeah, the whole voice cast were really good. I really enjoyed it. And I think that the story was nicely presented and a really good film for adults and kids alike. Cameron?
Yeah, this movie was really, really fun. It was a good time, and the movie flowed really well. The cast was perfect, I think. Every character really stood their own, and yeah, like you said, the Chris Hemsworth and the Brian Tyree Henry, they both, as the characters developed, their voices changed to the more iconic recollection of the shows and the movies previous. And yeah, just the way they told Megatron's story was just amazing to me. Just the rise, or people would say the fall, how he becomes this dark villain, really portrayed really well. When he actually turned fully, and that scene really gave me goosebumps. It's just embedded in my brain, and I loved it so much as a Decepticon lover myself. And yeah, it was nice to see this story. Leading up to the movie, I wasn't really interested in it, but I watched the movie and I was enthralled really, and I hope they do another one. Moon?
Yeah. For some reason, I didn't know actually what the plot of the movie was before. So when the movie started, I was like, okay, so they are friends now, and we know what happens at the end. And I was so much into the journey of these two brothers, and how things fall apart. The animation style, like John mentioned, it's very different. The palette colors were very different, but it actually blends very well and adds to the story because the world looks really good. So Sentinel Prime is not the best villain, but there's a reason behind it. He's the perfect catalyst for this chain reaction of events which will occur, which will lead basically for D16 to turn into Megatron, and whatever happens, we know what happens afterwards, how they break apart. And this journey was so well done. Brian Tyree Henry for me stole the whole show. His voice was so good. The darker the character was becoming, his voice was getting even so much better. I never seen him in like a darker role, so he's always like a funny guy. It was really refreshing to see him. So this really good movie.
Yeah, I also enjoyed Alpha Prime, Lawrence Fishburne's character.
Yeah.
He's got such a deep voice that it's what you're expecting that the Optimus Prime and Megatron character, that kind of voice they're going to get to. But just the way he speaks, it's very authoritarian, and it's great to give an exposition dump, but in a way that's meaningful. It's not so much just, let's just dump a bunch of information at the start of the film and call it a day. I really enjoyed that. He was in it for maybe like 5 minutes of the film, but they were an important 5 minutes of that film, so I really like that. And yeah, John Hamm did a good job as Sentinel Prime. But yeah, that plot point, red herring of a villain was a nice through line, but for the whole film, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, it's not a character that we're going to lose like 5 minutes into the film and Megatron starts coming up. It's a nice development and a nice, I think, rounded ending for his character. So yeah.
Yeah. And the comedy aspect of this movie really was there as well. Like with the other Transformers, the live action ones, I don't think it harps too much on the lighthearted comedy as this film did. I think that's credit to the animation, the freedom they had. And I thought it really suits the Transformers more, I think. It really harps back to the old TV series,
Yeah, and like the original Transformers.
Yeah, how it was more lighthearted and a bit comedic. It has those deep emotions underlining it, but was like the live actions tend to be more serious tone and one dimensional. But this one had so many dimensions, and it really threw me back to the series, really.
And I think being animated, it makes it easier to actually put the humor in.
Yeah.
Because I know that like live action CGI is very difficult to actually animate, costly and timely. So when you're talking about jokes, it's very much like they have to be kind of pre-planned and what they're going to do, because they're filming it beforehand and then adding in after the fact. Whereas when they're animating it, they can have a joke or have a few lines of a joke, animate in different ways and see which way works best, so they can play around with it a bit more. Yeah. And I think that's because B, really funny character. I think he's the real comedy aspect of the film. I mean, they all have a bit of comedy to them, but B was for me the standout in terms of the comedy, especially he's got his old Key and Peele roots when he meets all his friends. He's like, "Hey, Aaron." I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think the chemistry with the whole cast
there
was showing through the whole movie. It just seemed like they were all in one big room recording it, and there was just the flow state was just synonymous to the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to the following films.
Oh yeah. 100%.
There's 2 more films in the series that are expected to come as a part of a trilogy, so I'm looking forward to seeing the other 2. It gives me a lot of interest.
Alright guys, we're going to give our scores.
Yeah.
Moon, how many Decepticons out of 10?
I give it 8 Decepticons out of 10.
John, how many Autobots out of 10?
I'm going to give 8.5 Autobots out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 8 Decepticons out of 10. Alright guys, make sure to like, subscribe, check out our socials, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.